Hey, what's up? I'm Helena Legend, and you are watching Toasted.
Miss Legend, welcome to Miami.
Thank you. It's good to be here.
Yeah, it's good to meet a legend. No, I'm just kidding. Hey, of course, I watched all your social media. You had a dinner or a lunch with DJ Chuckie, right? I saw that.
Chuckie's actually a really good friend of mine. I find him one of the most genuine, sort of cool people in this scene, and yeah, he's always been a really good support for me from the very beginning. So I have a lot of love and respect for Chuckie.
Hey, talking about yourself, you're a very international person. You were born in the UK, in Bristol, if I'm correct, and you moved to Australia, and then you moved to LA.
Yes.
What about this?
I'm a citizen of the world. I love traveling. Obviously, I have dual nationality, English and Australian, and I've managed to build my career across 3 continents, and now I'm in LA. So very fortunate that I get to travel the world, and obviously my job is fantastic that I actually get to go back to these places. You know, I tour Australia twice a year, and I go back to Europe a few times a year as well. So get to do what I love and also see my family on different sides of the world as well. It's perfect.
Hey, of course you're into music, but you're a fashion designer as well. Is this why you moved to LA? Because you can have a combination of the different things you do?
Well, the fashion element is actually very new. It's something I've been sort of putting together over the last year. Before I actually got into music, I actually studied fashion design at college for a time, but obviously my career path went straight into music. But it's only recently that I've had itchy feet, and obviously my creativity. I've been wanting to sort of delve into a new project and decided to, launch my own fashion line. And obviously which is amazing. And obviously being in LA, it's perfect because you actually have the tools there to do something. I'm actually making it in downtown LA, designing it all myself and sourcing everything. And creatively, it's great. It's a new passion project. I've been doing music for a while now, so it's very inspiring to sort of get stuck into something fresh.
So why the combination? Because I mean, you travel a lot, you play a lot. It must be tough to have a combination of 2 careers. But I mean, to have one is already fucking impossible.
It is tough. I guess selfishly, one of the main inspirations behind it was to actually make stuff for myself to wear at my shows. I got sick of trying to find clothes that I wanted to wear for shows, and I just couldn't find what I wanted, but I had it all in my head. Obviously it's such a huge interest, and I just like, you know what, I'm just going to make my own stuff, wear it to my shows, and then hopefully other people will like it too and build it into a fashion line. You know, music and fashion go hand in hand, they always have. I'm drawing a lot of inspiration from touring, from stage, and from my own experiences as an artist of what I look for in clothes, and I'm putting all that into the fashion line.
So that made me think, what are you looking for? Because I mean, it needs to be comfy probably, you need to be jumping around in it, and need to be maybe not too revealing, I don't know, because this is another topic, and actually I really didn't want to talk about this because I think it's an open door. Being a female in a male-dominated DJ scene, I think everything's been said about that. But you made me think, actually, like, I can't be too sexy because I'll get lumped in with a certain group of people, and I don't want that.
I mean, each artist is very different, and it's how you want to be seen as an artist and how you want to put yourself out there. You have hit a lot of points there. Obviously, the clothes that I'm looking for, I want it to be comfy, I want it to be breathable, I want it to stand out. But I also kind of want it to look cool and not too sexy. And that's kind of, I guess, how I've always tried to pitch my brand, because that's how I feel comfortable. So the stuff that I'm making is obviously ticking all the boxes as what I look for as a female artist. Obviously, other, female artists are different, and some people feel comfortable DJing in next to nothing or a mini dress, and that's good for them. That's their brand. But I'm obviously styling myself personally and what I feel comfortable as a female artist in the scene.
One of the brands that you named for an inspiration was Adidas. Would be awesome if you could have like a cooperation with them. Nudge, wink, wink.
That would be very cool. That would be very cool. I've actually worked with Adidas in the past, especially Adidas Asia have been a good support of me. But yeah, that would be really cool. I'm a huge fan of Rihanna's style. I'd love to make something and have Rihanna wear it. That would be very cool. So yeah, I mean, when you're starting a new project, you start it from the ground up. Obviously, you start from scratch, but you have to have obviously aspirations of where you want to take it. So, yeah, collaborations down the line would be very cool.
So, where do you want to take this?
Well, I feel I'm not going to be DJing forever. I don't know. I don't know how long, it's like a footballer. How long is your career going to last before, or how long till I get sick of the lack of sleep and the jet lag and, touring the world. I think every artist obviously will draw a line in the sand at some point, and but I feel obviously fashion has a lot more longevity. I would like it to be something to continue when I decide to finally hang up my touring shoes. So that's I'd like to build it into, a full fashion brand. And it goes back to me changing my name a year ago or so to Helena Legend, to something that was more unique, something that I could own and actually build further than just music.
Sweet. Cool. Hey, the story I read is that you got into music because you snuck into a Daft Punk concert when you were really young. So Daft Punk was probably a big influence after that. Why was it so legendary for you?
I think it was because it was the first time I'd actually properly heard electronic music. I was into house music and stuff before, but I guess when I saw Daft Punk, they played around the world and it just sounded so fresh and so new that I just couldn't stop dancing. And I was like, what is this? What is this amazing music? And I feel that was definitely a defining moment for me. It's something that I remember now and obviously refer back to, because from there, I think that was one of the first, records that I bought. After that was like, who are these guys? And downloaded the music, and I think from that really sort of triggered my love for electronic music. So I do think I can credit a lot back to that moment.
Well, everybody goes to a concert and everybody wants to be on stage, but only a few people pull it off. So what was the most important choice or the most important thing that happened to you so you did pull it off? What was your breakthrough moment?
I think my breakthrough moment was actually realizing this is what I want to do. How do I do it? How do I get to it, to what to where I want to be? I'd always worked in music from, when I left school. I was running clubs and promoting, and I was DJing them, but just as a hobby. And so in Bristol, yeah. But it was when I finally moved to Australia and I decided, what am I going to do now? And I didn't really know anybody, and I decided, right, what do I love? I love music. I was already DJing as a hobby, and so I was like, I'm going to really give it a go. I'm going to go for it. And I think that's the turning point, is when you actually set your mind to something and you make that decision of, right, this is where I want to get to and how do I want to get there. And I think that's your turning point. And then from then on, it was relentless. I'd work every terrible job possible just to try and get enough money to get me to that point. So I think that was the real sort of turning point, is making that decision in your head of, right, this is what I want.
I think you're leaning towards pop music. Actually, I think you already had a hit, and you never know when a hit becomes a hit or why it doesn't become a hit. Probably a lot of people weren't listening to the music when they should have. I think the Getaway you wrote together with Blake Rose is, I think, a fantastic song. How did it come about? Can you tell me a little about it?
So Blake Rose is an Australian artist. He's just turned 19 years old.
No shit.
He's a very talented young man. And it was when I was putting together my EP. Obviously, I released an EP recently in two parts, part 1 and part 2. And Getaway was the second track or third track on part 1. And there was so many female talents out there. And I was like, where's all the guys? Where's all the new good male vocalists? Where's all these new talents? And I was searching the internet, high and low, reading all articles, and where are they all? And I put a desperate plea on my Facebook, and I said, hey guys, where are these vocalists? Who knows some good male vocalists? Obviously, people started tagging their friends, and vocalists I already knew, and I'm like, yeah, but they're not fresh, they're not new. And a mutual friend on Facebook tagged Blake, and I thought, okay, checked his profile out, and I thought, this guy's got some serious talent. He's going to go places. And I hit him up on Facebook Messenger straight away and said, hey, I have a track that I think you'd be great on. Are you interested? And it turned out he's from Perth in Australia, and it turned out he was actually in LA that very week, working, writing, and I was like, this is fate. We met up 2 days later. He came to my studio, we started writing the track, and 2 days later we recorded it in LA and finished the track, and it went straight onto the EP, and that's kind of how it came together.
Hey, again, I was going through your social media. Yeah, well, I will after this interview. No worries. Sacrifice of the Virgins party. You went there. That looked kind of amazing. What was that about?
So these guys, I've actually played for them, I think 3 or 4 times last year. It's an events company called Denial Events. And they're one of the few promoters that just go all out with their parties. They focus a lot on the production, the entertainments. It's very Balearic vibe. You know, you feel that you've kind of stepped into some crazy show in Ibiza. And obviously they're bringing that experience to their shows in America. Last year I did a party with them with Armin van Buuren in Ibiza in this huge mansion villa in the hills. I also did New Year's Eve in Miami with Nervo. They go all out, and the Ibiza party, they turned this whole villa into like a mini Ushuaia. And that was the first party I played at Miami Music Week. They did a party called Sacrifice of the Virgins. It was on a beach, secret beach in Miami. And it was crazy, it was insane. Obviously full costumes, full show. They brought a girl out and they pretended to pull her heart out. It was quite mad, but it's fun, you know. It's like, it's all about the sort of theatre and the sort of glam of the parties.
You released an EP, 6 tracks. I'm a music lover, and it is, well, to people put it blunt, I would love to have an album. Why 6 tracks? Why not 10? Why not 11?
Well, I made a shift, obviously, in my sound over the last year, and over the course of my career, people have always said, "Are you going to bring out an album?" And I've thought, well, I'm only going to do an album if I've got like a kind of statement to make musically. I feel that's kind of the only time it really works, is if you're trying to make some kind of statement. Otherwise, singles are actually more effective, I feel, in the market. So I decided to go halfway and just put out a 6-track EP just to kind of make my statement. And when I presented it to the label, they said, hey, that we actually think there's too many good tracks to all be on one EP. People won't listen to them. They'll get halfway through and switch off, which is generally what people do, you know, when they listen to something with a lot of tracks on. So I was like, okay, you kind of ruined my plans, but fair point, I'll take it on board. And that's why we decided to split it into part 1 and part 2. And they were right, you know, you can then give each track a lot more love and sort of give every track the sort of attention it deserves, rather than, you know, tracks 5 and 6 off the EP getting lost.
There's a new track coming up, I hear. Those of You, is it already done and out, and when will it be released?
Good question. There's been a few versions. We're polishing it and finishing it now. I think we finally nailed the final version. I'm hoping it's going to come out after the EP. Obviously, Kirsten's got her own commitments with her own singles and EPs. Trying to figure it all out right now, but it's sounding really good, and I'm hoping it's going to be out soon.
What holds in your future for you? Touring, and will you go to Europe as well?
Definitely. I try and sort of schedule, you know, my year into sort of blocks. All of May I'll be back in Australia. June I'll probably be back in Europe, then back in Asia, then back in the US. For a few years I wasn't doing it in blocks, and it nearly killed me. I was going from Australia to Europe to America, then back to Asia, sometimes like, you know, 4 times in the space of 2 weeks. And I said,
how do you cope, actually? I mean, because it must drive you completely bonkers.
It does, you know, especially, you know, the lack of sleep as well, and the jet lag. Sometimes you've gone through 3 or 4 different time zones in the space of like 10 days, and your body goes, where am I? I don't even know what's going on anymore. You know, you wake up in your hotel and you just don't know where you are or what's going on. It's quite disorientating, and it can be very taxing on your body as well. So you do have to look after yourself physically and mentally, and it's a lot easier trying to sort of tour in blocks rather than just kind of bouncing from one country to another.
Hey, thanks so much for your time.
Thank you very much.